Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's spring cleaning video is going to be focused on getting those I was gonna projects done. So I've got some painting projects I'd meant to get around to doing. One of them is a big 6-foot round bookshelf, and I got a really good deal on it at an estate sale. Kind of like mango wood and like this rustic dark brown. Alright, we're gonna start in the frame first. I've got all the shelves already unscrewed and off. They're leaning against the wall here, and I just want to figure out what I'm gonna set those on to paint them. Okay, I've got a microfiber cloth. I'm gonna wipe this down, make sure it's all dust free, and then we'll get to priming. Always want to have a respirator mask or some type of mask before spray painting. I'm gonna be using Rust-Oleum flat white primer. Let's get started. So I'm doing the final coat of spray paint on the frame of the shelf, and it really doesn't need it. I'm just kind of going over and just making sure, you know, any areas that need to be touched up. So that is completely done and drying right now, and I'm working on the shelving right now. So I switched the paint that I'm using. So on the frame we use the Rust-Oleum spray paint, and spray paint on that kind of, you know, on a frame like that where there's all kinds of little crevices and there's not a large flat surface, it's just really easy to get that done real fast with spray paint. And you can get in all those little crevices. But on the large flat surfaces, it's easier to actually just switch, and you can match the paint color to any kind of spray paint. If I was to try to paint those with spray paint, it would just suck up so much paint, and it would actually end up being way more costly to do it that way than just doing regular paint like this, regular water-based paint. So there's several different Kilts primers that you can get. I'm using the Kilts Premium. This is a primer, sealer, and stain blocker. It's the High Hide stain blocker. And since these, the shelves that I have here, they're mango wood, but they are heavily stained. And so I really want to make sure that I block out that stain and that we don't have any of that bleeding through. So we've already started priming the shelves. I'm just gonna get this last side here. And then to paint the sides, I'll just lift up and kind of just reach as far as I can. Yeah, there's something very relaxing about painting. And then I'll flip them and we'll paint the other side, which is actually the top. These are the bottom here. And I'll just flip back and forth as I do the coats and let them dry. It takes a while to dry. It's not like the spray paint. Spray paint dries so fast. That's like probably dry right now, but I'll leave it sitting out just so it can air out before moving it back inside. So I won't move it back in until probably this evening. And it's middle of the day right now, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see on camera, but there is some of the stain coming through right now, so you can see it kind of bleeding through. But I don't worry about that on the first coat. Just, you know, let it do its thing, and then when we come back in with the second and third coat, it completely seals it like these. So these are dry right now. Those are waiting to be painted. Okay, so here's the paint I'm using. We're just finishing up here. This is Behr Premium Plus, and I got the interior flat. So this is the ultra pure white, and I had it tinted to the exact color that I was doing the frame, the Rust-Oleum white. The last two boards have been sitting out all day. They're all dry and ready to go in, so let's get these inside. All right guys, we're ready to put our boards on here. I'm just checking because they're drilled on the bottom. So I'm just checking to make sure I have them all lined up. It's like putting a puzzle back together. But I was trying to pay attention when I was painting them, which ones went on what level of the shelf. Okay, I'll get this one in. Hopefully this is on the right side. Yep, perfect. All right, the shelf is set up, the shelves are on, and we're ready to organize. I didn't want to make this video just a shelf makeover. I actually wanted to organize it with you guys, so I'm gonna do that on camera with you right now. And we are back in my office. When I was first putting on the shelves, I thought I was gonna have the shelf in our bedroom, and we're gonna have a bunch of plants hanging on it and growing off of it, because there's 2 big windows in there, but I decided to move it back into the office just because it's more usable, and I needed the shelf space in here. And this has a nice large wall here that's perfect for the shelf. Okay, so I figured we'd start on the top shelf, and I'm gonna have some plant life in here because I love lots of greenery around me, and especially it's nice to have in your office area. But we are about 10 feet away from the main light source. So I've got 2 windows, but they're at the opposite corner of the room here. So I needed to choose a plant that could handle low light. So this is a heartleaf philodendron. It's basically, it's an epiphyte. It's a rainforest type plant that grows kind of under the canopy, so it can deal with more of those low light kind of situations. So that can always be really helpful when trying to choose what plant to put where. As far as the lighting requirements go, is to just look and see where it grows in its natural habitat. So, any of those tropical rainforest plants that grow under the canopy are a good option for any low light situation. So as much as I would love to have some cactus or something, a cute little cactus potted up here, they wouldn't be very happy, or succulents, they would end up etiolated, stretching out, reaching for the light. So those needed to be, if I was gonna have those in here, they need to be right up to the window. But this one will be very happy here. So, oh, I didn't mention the pot. The pot, because some of you guys have asked about whenever you see my pots that I have, a lot of them are white because I spray paint them that way. So I just get the really inexpensive terracotta pots and I spray paint them, any color you want. A lot of times I'll just use either a light pastel or white because I love the look of green and just a nice crisp white. I just love that contrast. So plant life and white. So we're just gonna have this be the only item that's up on this side, and we've got the different quadrants here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at as we go, as we organize. I got some plant debris down here. In this quadrant here, I'm gonna have some of my work supplies. So I'm gonna start with this jewelry bust. This is from, I think it's originally from Bali, but I got this at the Tucson gym shows here. So I've got a couple of them. I've got one on my desk, a taller, different style one, but this one fits perfectly in here. The other one was too tall to fit in here. So I'm only gonna use this one. I'm gonna have some of my favorite necklaces out that I wear all the time. I've got a Larimar, Kazakhstan turquoise, sun necklace, and then I've got some acrylic boxes that I'm gonna create kind of little clusters of color in. So I'm gonna be using stones, beads, crystals. It's all part of my work supplies, but I'm gonna turn it into decor at the same time. Okay, so here's one of the acrylic boxes that I got at Home Goods. They came in 3 different sizes and they're just really handy. I love that it's a nice thick acrylic. They've got the little kind of notches cut out on the side, so it's really easy to get the tops on and off. And they have little nubs on the bottom so they don't scratch any surface, or so they don't get scratched either. So this one has quartz, and then I have Tibetan quartz in the front here that are double terminated, which means there's points on both sides that are naturally occurring. And then these are all Brazilian quartz crystals. So I'm gonna put this box right next to our necklace bust, and that is kind of gonna be matching our necklace up here, which this necklace, it almost looks like it would be like a quartz rock necklace, right? Like a rock crystal or a quartz crystal necklace, but it's actually Herkimer diamond. So those are how the crystals are naturally shaped and formed. They kind of have a very distinct shape to them, kind of natural facets to the stone. Okay, now we're gonna do an acrylic box that has the blue stones. So we're gonna do Larimar and Kazakhstan turquoise. So our blue stones I did in the small acrylic box, and we're gonna stack that on top of our quartz box. Okay, let me fix this little pillow in here and I will show you guys kind of, I guess, how I organize it or what I have in here exactly. So I've got a lot of the Larimar in here. We've got Larimar beads and a bunch of stones, drilled stones of Larimar that I'm gonna be working with for jewelry, but it's not made into jewelry yet, So I've got some bracelets and also pendants that are set in sterling silver and Kazakhstan turquoise pendants. And then I also put a couple of random meteorites in here because I didn't know where to put them yet. I didn't really have a spot for them, so I got a couple of meteorites from the the Sahara Desert, and then also one from Australia, Western Australia, and then some other pieces in these little displays under the Kazakhstan turquoise of Larimar. So just some pieces that I'm probably going to be wire wrapping. So basically just items that haven't made it into jewelry yet, but I'm going to be working on them, and I like to have pieces out because I'm able to see them and it keeps me really inspired and looking forward to working with those particular stones. And then I've got 2 white leatherette jewelry displays in here, just a bracelet half moon and a little pillow for watches or bracelets, and I have my white fossil watch on there. I've got some amber in here, which amber is one of my favorite gem materials. I'll say it's not an actual stone, it's fossilized resin, and it is considered a fossil from the Baltic Sea. I love those so much. Butterscotch amber, that sunny yellow, is one of my favorites, and I love the combination of the Baltic amber with the Larimar. Okay, so that's what's in that box. Just wanted to show you that. Oh, and there's a ring display too back here that's white leatherette with the Larimar ring on it. Oh, and then a raw piece of Larimar that's just unpolished, just completely raw with the natural matrix. And then this is the largest size acrylic box that I got from Home Goods, and I just decided to put all my Madagascar rose quartz in here. And I love rose quartz, again, another one of my favorite stones. So I got rose quartz spheres in the back there, and then all in the front is all the tumbled rose quartz, which the Madagascar is my absolute favorite. It's the only rose quartz in the world that stars. And the starring effect, it happens when you either have it out in the sun, you can hold it out in the sun and see it, or you can shine a flashlight on it. Normally you can see the star effect best in the spheres. But yeah, and it won't do it on all the pieces, but it is all only Madagascar rose quartz that will star for you. So we're gonna put this box right under here. And then right here I have an acrylic tiered riser. I wanna see if that will fit in between there. So let me go grab that. Okay, so here's that acrylic tiered display, and this is made for, you know, displaying mineral specimens. Well, you could display anything on it, but I use it for displaying minerals and crystals, just like the small size ones. That will fit perfect right there. So we're gonna come back to that because I gotta figure out what I want to put up there. This is a quartz crystal singing bowl. Michael and I found this at an estate sale for, let's see, we got 2 of them. There's one that's a little bit larger. I think we have the larger one out on our living room shelf. I think that one was $20, this one was $15, and that's a really good price if you ever come across these. These can be hundreds of dollars. I think the guy at the gym show, we went to his booth. I had that in the vlog. I think he said his was like a couple $100s, and they had different sizes too. They had smaller ones. But yeah, really, really good deal on those. That's why I love going to estate sales. You just never know what you're gonna find, but you always find the coolest stuff for super good prices. And this is made out of selenite. We just wrapped vegan suede, so the faux suede around it. That's my phone. Hold on one sec. Costco. Michael is at Costco. Okay, hold on one sec. So yeah, that's the selenite, which is a natural mineral gemstone. And then the vegan suede, we just wrapped the cord around it so we could use that on there. Because when we found the bowls, they didn't come with the little, you know, the little stick. So, hold on. Okay, so we're just gonna set this inside the bowl. Okay, so you know when you're making a shelf cohesive and you're doing either an offset or a triangle to kind of pull the whole shelf together, either with color, you know, repeating the color or repeating texture. I was thinking because we have this natural wood up here that I would use something else natural and offset here at the opposite corner. So I grabbed our, we have several pieces of this cholla wood. This is a cholla cactus skeleton. And I just think this wood is so cool, and there's something about it that I just gravitate towards it. So I wanted to put this piece down here, and this is a candle holder. So not that I mean, these aren't real candles, these are just little LED tea light candles. So I'm just gonna put that right under here. So that's what we're gonna do down there, is just have those 2 pieces kind of layered with the cholla cactus skeleton a little bit behind there towards the back, and then we're gonna have this pulled out a little more towards the front. Down in this corner, I'm gonna put a selection of books. I've got these 2 rose quartz bookends that I'm gonna use for that. And also that's gonna keep with our theme of sort of crisscrossing, you know, the offset, because we've got rose quartz up here on this shelf. And down here, kind of diagonal, we're gonna have our rose quartz bookends. So let me go grab some of my books. Michael and I have most of our books in a big, long white shelf that's kind of like a big cupboard that we got at IKEA. It's out in the living room. So I'm gonna grab some of my favorite books that I like to refer back to often and make this my little research area. So I'll have like a lot of my crystal and gemstone books, plant identification books, cactus and succulent books. I don't want to overdo the space here, so I'm going to leave some of my books out here. I didn't realize how many cactus and succulent books I have until I started looking at all of them. I was like, oh gosh, I don't think they're all going to fit into space. So I do have some crystal books in here too, like this one, the Purifying Crystals, gem water, like how to make gem water. I thought it'd be fun to do some recipes in some of these books, because you know, for videos, I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. If you are, let me know. We can definitely do that. This one you guys might recognize, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. And then cactus books, Sedona hikes. Michael and I love going to Sedona. We can't wait to go back up there again. We're gonna go this spring sometime. But yeah, that's a really good book if you're looking for one for, you know, the whole Sedona area. The New Bohemian's Handbook, that's fun if you like to, you know, sort of experiment with textures and crystals and natural elements, and it just gives you a lot of fun ideas for decor, home decor. And cactus book. Stones of the Goddess, another crystal book, crystal and gemstone. For some of the books that have really bright colors, I'm gonna flip those around so that's not visible. The Metaphysical Book of Gems and Crystals. We've got another Cacti of the Southwest, Field Guide to Cacti and Other Succulents of Arizona. This was written locally here by the Tucson Cactus and Succulent Society. And then Crystal Energy, the book on adeniums. This is Sculptural Elegance, Floral Extravagance. If you're into adeniums, this is the book to have. It teaches you everything from grafting to the different varieties and all information you could want in here. The guys who wrote this book are here in Tucson. They live here. I've got several adeniums growing outside right now. They're pretty naked right now because they're in their dormancy period, but they just started getting their leaves in, so I'll give you guys a patio tour sometime. This is How to Grow Fresh Air, and yeah, you can leave that one facing out. Cacti and Other Succulents. Oh, that's the World Encyclopedia of Cacti and Other Succulents. Succulents Simplified from Deborah Baldwin, and we're gonna flip that around too. Practical Houseplant, got that at Costco. That has all different kinds of houseplants, tropicals. If you guys like growing air plants, this is a really good air plant book. And we're gonna flip that one around. And then Soft Succulents, that's quite a big one. That's a good identification book for succulents. And who is this one written by? Jeff Moore. So Jeff Moore does some really good books. He's got a few of all specializing on succulents and cactus that are really good for identifying your cactus and succulents. And this is the last acrylic box that I have. It's another one of the medium size, and so I have some spirit quartz in here. So this is another gorgeous crystal. It's that light lavender. And spirit quartz, it's also referred to as cactus quartz. So each crystal is encrusted with all these other fine crystals. So it's like druzy coated crystals. And they're this gorgeous lavender shade. Sometimes it has some citrine shade to it, but they're absolutely beautiful. In the front here, I've got some of the Veracruz amethyst, which is another a more rare type of amethyst that has a lot of lavender tones to it and a lot of clarity too. So it's completely different than like a standard type of amethyst that you would find in Brazil. This is only found in the Veracruz mine in Mexico. And so I've just got some mounting tack on the displays for the little crystal clusters in the front there, and then also the really small crystal points in the front. Okay, so just wanted to give you a peek at what's in that box, and we're gonna set that on the top shelf. So I think that's all we're gonna have on the top shelf, and I don't want to overload the shelf too much because it's really easy to do with bookshelves because they do have all that surface space. So it can be easy to just, keep setting, favorite items on there or have a whole lot of color going on. So it's fun to sort of, edit over a few stages, right? Like each time kind of pull back, take a look, see if it's cohesive, see how it makes you feel, because color is going to affect how you feel. Some people aren't as into white, maybe they like more color, more bohemian style. Michael just got home. I think he wants to go to Costco, so I'm going to take a little break here and we'll continue this first thing in the morning. So let's see you guys then. Hey guys, welcome back. We're gonna get started working on this section here. This is that acrylic tiered riser display, and I'm gonna use this to display mineral specimens, well, minerals and crystals. So I'm gonna get started putting some of my crystals on the shelf here. This is a larger spirit quartz crystal cluster. I've got a Veracruz amethyst double terminated specimen. If you have a collection where you have smaller items, you know, like this is going to be a collection of a lot of little items, and when you group them together, you're creating a more cohesive unit. So you're in essence creating one larger item when they're all displayed together like that. If you were to spread out your small items, you know, if they're quite small and you've got a large shelf, they might end up getting lost, kind of, you know, blending into the shelf, and so they're sort of losing the impact of the piece, right? So if you cluster them together and create that cohesion with the items, it will have more of an impact. So I'm just gonna get these up here as quickly as possible. I've got some quartz points there. We've got some rose quartz crystals, and then Himalayan quartz. And the Himalayan quartz is actually pretty interesting because it has almost this tinge of, it looks like Himalayan sea salt, you know? It's got that same kind of tinge of peachy pink to it. It's really gorgeous, and it's got a little bit of frostiness on some of the crystals. Some are more clear. I'll show you a couple over here that are a little more clear. And then this is danburite, which is another really pale pink, very icy crystal. And then double terminated quartz. Clear quartz. All right, we've got another rose quartz specimen, and that one is like a druzy rose quartz, really fine with mica. And then another couple of the Himalayan quartz. Actually comes from up in the Himalaya mountains, so they can't get any kind of equipment up there to mine it, so it's all done by hand and brought out, you know, carried out in small quantities. And some pieces are more clear, like this one is a lot more clear, and then that one's got a little more frostiness, but it still has clear, sparkly crystals down around the bottom there. And then we've got danburite, and this is a danburite cluster. And if you're displaying crystal spheres, these displays are perfect for that. This is a faceted square. They also come in around, and they have a little dimple, so it just holds your little crystal ball perfectly. But I love these crystal spheres. They're so pretty. It's literally a crystal ball, and you can look down inside there. They're so neat. So I think I'm gonna leave this display just like this for now, but these are gonna be always changing because some of these are from my own personal collection, and then I always have like a couple that are on the website. So it's, you know, there's always gonna be ones that are cycling out, and then if I get, you know, new ones that I find really inspiring or really cool specimens, I'll trade certain ones out. So when you're finding your styling vibe, you wanna think in terms of how the space is gonna make you feel. Whatever you're trying to create in that space is gonna create a feeling in you. The colors affect people differently, and psychology is definitely involved in your environment. So in every room of your house, you're going to be affected. You're going to feel a certain way by the colors that you see, the amount of stuff that you see, and you want to make sure your environment is leveled up to the point where you're operating at your highest frequency and your most positive space, mental space, and emotional space. So just a few tips for organizing shelves, which I'm gonna have on the blog post too, and we'll get more into detail there. Color palette, I think we talked about that already, but just pulling 2 to 3 colors from the surrounding room. Plants always give life to a space, and the greenery is really pretty to have around you. It's very soothing and calming. Creating a cohesive balance with your shelf, repeating similar items, positioning similar items opposite or in a triangle or offset from each other, varying object heights, layering from front to back. Grouping items together can work really well in 2s or 3s. Repeat finishes if you have pops of reflective, you know, glam surfaces, earthy organic textures, matte, gloss. You can just kind of, you know, repeat a theme throughout your shelf to kind of make it a cohesive unit. And personalizing the space, so including meaningful items, items that spark joy or a theme that you connect with in some way. Keep it simple, not too many small things. The brain can read that as clutter. If they blend in, they they will get lost in a big space, in a big shelf. And edit, edit, edit. Go for less items, but bigger items. So I know I do have a lot of smaller items that can be really easy to, end up doing on your shelf, especially if you have a lot of hobbies and projects and things that you like to do. But grouping them together can really help cut down on the visual noise of it. And open space is a calm space, so don't feel the need to fill every nook and cranny of the shelf. Leaving some space open and visible is a good thing because it gives the eye a place to rest. Overall, it should appear as a purposeful display rather than a shelf full of clutter that's been kind of randomly put on there. And make dusting easy on yourself because you are going to have to clean this thing. So just the last tip I will leave you guys with. And on that note, I will let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me while we redid the shelf, gave it a makeover, organized it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I hope you have an awesome week and I will see you guys later.